Hey guys, so in today's episode, we're gonna talk about everyone's favorite thing, which is vegetables. Basically different kinds of green supplements you're gonna wanna look for, what's gonna help you with antioxidants, alkalinity, superfoods that you might wanna get out of a greens product and what it can do for you. Let's get into this episode right now.
I'm Billy Hinzo, and I'm obsessed connecting real people to real supplements. Let's get into this video.
All right guys, so everything you want to know as far as greens products. So let's start off the bat with what makes a greens a greens. So you're probably already intelligent enough to know that that means vegetables, but more importantly, why are greens so important? Let's start with the thing that makes greens green. So chlorophyll is what we're really aiming for in a greens product. The ingredients like spirulina, chlorella, these are really, really high in chlorophyll. Now, chlorophyll is going to transform into hemoglobin in your body. What that does is that's going to help bump up our red blood cell count, which is going to increase our ability to get oxygen throughout the body, transfer other nutrients throughout the body, and really make our body run properly. That's going to be the most important thing that greens overall as a blanket product do. So when you're eating green foods that naturally have a lot of chlorophyll, that's what you're getting. You're getting a lot of this hemoglobin added into your system. But let's get right into a few specific greens because it's really hard to talk about all of them because they're very different in a lot of different ways. So I have with me here today Greens Factor from Nutrithority. This is one of my favorite greens products, mainly because aside from the fact these guys spent a year trying to make this palatable, a really tough thing with greens is a lot of them might be, oh, this is really healthy for you, but it tastes like dirt and grass scooped out of your backyard and thrown in the blender, which is not gonna work. I have a lot of friends where I'm like, oh, hey, what greens product do you use? Oh, I use this one, it's super hardcore. Great, great. Then I'm like, noticing a little bit of dust on the top of it. So how much of these greens are you actually doing? Well, I'm not really, I take it, once a week, a day. It's like, and they're not daily using it. You need a greens product you're gonna use every day. So Greens Factor is one of those products that, I can't say that I would, take this over an iced tea, after a hot day, but it's a really good product that I can drink in cold water, no problem, every single day. There's a lot more disgusting drinks out there than this, and they do a really good job making all these hardcore greens taste pretty good. That being said, let's dive right in. So let's start with spirulina. So a huge thing with spirulina and also chlorella is gonna be, they are one of the best detoxers for heavy metals in your system. Now, this is, when I say heavy metals, I mean inorganic metals, metals that your body is not naturally supposed to be in your system. This is things where if you live in LA or metropolitan areas, you probably have a lot more heavy metals just from smog and other things like that. There's a lot of other ways for heavy metals to be ingested into your system through the foods you eat. We can get into that in a whole other day. But basically, spirulina and chlorella are the number 1 and 2 in heavy metal detox amongst greens products. This is great because the more heavy metals you can get rid of, the better you feel day to day and how your body operates. And again, it's not, when I say you feel, I'm not saying you're gonna drink one of these and be like, whoa, feeling the spirulina, but there are people that say they can. I personally can't, but it's something that over the course of a month, I can look back and notice that my natural energy levels are a lot higher because I'm ingesting these kind of ingredients. Let's go down to, I'm gonna skip over broccoli and kale just because there's a lot of stuff out there about broccoli and kale and you've probably all been, beaten over the head with that many times, but I'm gonna go on to wheatgrass. So wheatgrass is going to be one of those ingredients that's awesome for a couple reasons. The thing with wheatgrass is it's got 98 of the 102 elements found in soil. And why is that important? These are things like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium. This is crucial because if you're someone who's looking for I really need to get a vitamin or a mineral product, by having a good shot of wheatgrass in here, your body's getting a ton of minerals naturally occurring. So the bioavailability is gonna be higher, which is something we talked about in previous episodes, meaning these minerals are more living and available for your body to ingest, being that they're found in the wheatgrass. And you're already getting 98 of the 102 of them. So now you don't have to just ingest all these other products. You can get your minerals right out of wheatgrass. Another really cool thing about wheatgrass is it also can they've shown that it can bring back a little bit of the color in your hair. So, and part of this is because of all the minerals that you're gonna find in here, but a lot of people notice more coloration of their original hair color coming back a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that if you're full-blown like salt and pepper look that this is gonna go right back to jet black, but I'm saying this is something that people have noticed over the years and has been documented for a really long time. It's a really cool little addition to wheatgrass. Okay, so the next one we're gonna be doing is gonna be alfalfa. And alfalfa is really cool because this is kind of the, it's really, we just did wheatgrass, but which is mostly minerals. Alfalfa is the OG plant-based multivitamin. So alfalfa has a really, really good concentration of many vitamins, especially vitamin K, found naturally. It also is shown to decrease LDL cholesterol, which is the unhealthy cholesterol. So this is a green that not only has the chlorophyll and high in vitamins, but can get rid of that LDL and like troublesome cholesterol that you hear about. When you hear about high cholesterol, it's usually LDL cholesterol. And then the last thing about alfalfa that's really good is it really helps mitigate blood sugar control. So basically it's going to cut down on your cravings and stuff like that a little bit. I mean, it's not a ton, but it's something that helps. So if you're drinking this drink in the middle of the day, or you're drinking this at a time where you usually struggle with wanting to have some sweets, or you feel like I need to have carbs or something like that, having this, the alfalfa is going to cut down on that sort of intrinsic need that you're feeling from, having your blood sugar be out of whack. So it's really good with helping regulate that. So the next one we're gonna get into is matcha. Matcha's taken off big time right now for a few reasons. One kind of cool thing about matcha is it has a naturally occurring energy of, it's not like caffeine the way you think of coffee, but there is a natural caffeine element to it. So it gives you a little bit of that natural energy boost, not something that's going to keep you up at night. You could easily take this before bed, sleep fine, no problem. But if you're taking this during the day as something to supplement in between, like coffee, me personally, I like to drink this around, 10:30, 11:30 when I typically would want to get a caffeine type hit. Instead, I'll go for greens and I'll get a little bit of that matcha, natural energy, so I'm not just over caffeinating all day. That's huge for me. It might be something great for you too. The really good thing with this kind of caffeine is there's naturally occurring L-theanine within the matcha. L-theanine, for those of you who don't know, is an amino acid that helps with increasing your mood elevation and kind of soothing that, caffeination. You don't really get a energy like way big hit. It's not going to throw your cortisol through the roof. The L-theanine is going to help keep your, cortisol level and help you still have good mood elevation. So the caffeine won't throw you out of whack there. Another really cool thing about matcha is matcha has actually the highest ORAC value of almost all the greens out there. So it's higher than blueberries even, it's higher than spinach for sure. And ORAC value, for those of you that don't know, that's how we measure antioxidants. So let's back this up a little bit. Antioxidants, meaning against oxidants, they're things that take out oxidants. What's an oxidant? An oxidant is a free radical. So we talked about this a little bit in the pre-workout video, but I'm really going to dive in because it's a big reason why you drink greens. So with ORAC value, we typically as people, we used to believe you need about 8,000 ORAC a day. Now we believe you need around 11,000 ORAC a day. Ultimately, this easily covers it. If you drink this once a day, you're going to get your ORAC value, which is your days worth of antioxidants. But antioxidants are going to take out free radicals, which are these oxidants that go through, and they kind of just look like these little spiky, molecules that tear through, red blood cells. They cause, cancer at the worst level, and they just really make your system run improperly. Free radicals are caused by many, many, many things, not just, the food in your system and stuff like that, but also through, too much, like I guess at cortisol release. There's a lot of things that cause an increase in free radicals in your system. So antioxidants, by getting that, you're going to decrease all the oxidants that are in your system. Like taking pre-workout is one of those things where if you take a really hard pre-workout, your body's probably going to release a decent amount of free radicals. And you can get too much free radicals from eating 10 peanut butter and jellies. You know what I mean? Like there's a zillion ways to get free radicals in your system, so don't think it's all related to like a supplement or this or that. It's anytime you get too much of something, your body's going to create free radicals. So it can be something healthy that's a good thing that create free radicals, but ultimately you want to be getting antioxidants that is going to battle back against bad eating, hard lifestyle choices and that kind of stuff. So antioxidants are going to be the things that keep our blood healthier, keep it cleaner, getting rid of these little oxidants and helping us overall feel better. And the reason why you want to get something that's high in ORAC value is so you don't have to eat a ton of it and you can get it in like a good dose like this. So between, the spirulina, chlorella, wheatgrass, alfalfa, all this stuff, especially the matcha, we're going to have a lot of antioxidant value for your day supply. Another cool thing about antioxidants is, people are like, well, what if I get my whole day supply right now? What am I going to do later? A neat thing about our body is we can actually, unlike things such as protein, we can't get our day's worth of protein all in one go and be like, I'm done for protein for the day. You have to get protein spread out throughout the day so your body can absorb it all at once. With antioxidants, your body can take in a full day's worth and it'll actually store it outside your cells in your bloodstream and it'll just pull it in as it needs it. That's awesome. So if you want to go nuts on greens, or like even if you're, having a salad and there's like a ton of greens in it, you're like, oh, I should, not eat the whole salad because I want to get it later. You can just have it all right now. Your body's going to store most of it. And then same thing with the greens product. You don't have to split this up and do it 3 times a day. You can do it once a day and your body's going to restore all those antioxidants and use them throughout the day as they're needed. So another thing that we have in here that's not completely greens related, but it's flaxseed oil. This is huge because it's going to increase, Greens Factory uses it, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but flaxseed oil is a complete omega, so it contains omegas 3, 6, and 9. That's important because omega-3s are tough to get, but they also need to be balanced out with omega-6 and 9. You get a lot of omega-6 and 9 from things like meats and stuff like that, so if you're having a vegan diet or you're going mostly plant-based, by having flaxseed oil, it helps a lot because you're not only getting the omega-3, but you're getting omega-6 and 9 as well, which obviously helps get rid of bad fats. It helps increase your digestion. It's going to help also create, if you're a guy, like helps your body synthesize more testosterone naturally. So there's a lot of good benefits to having a good dose of flaxseed oil. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, I don't need a greens product. I eat plenty of greens. Usually, like I have people that I talk to about this all the time. They're like, yeah, I get lots of greens. Okay, what do you eat? So I get green beans. I'm like, great. Green beans are not coming anywhere. It's a great vegetable. Don't stop eating green beans. But this is going to be a lot higher in what we talked about with chlorophyll, antioxidants, and all that kind of stuff than what you're going to get in the normal daily eating of vegetables. A really important thing is you want to get these tough to eat vegetables. And I've only met a few people that get a great dose of spirulina every day, a great dose of wheatgrass every day. So by adding this into your diet, one customer comes to mind, her name's Debra. And Debra, I remember, and I'm trying to do this story without sounding like a snake oil salesman, but basically Debra came in and she was really like, kind of sunken down like all the time. She was always like low energy and just kind of was like, her whole body and demeanor was very like shrunken in, I'll say. And she would come in and like always be asking for like energy supplements. So we tried fat burners and we tried to give her like the caffeine stuff she was looking for. And then I started asking her about, about her second or third visit. I was like, hey, what are you doing for, your diet? Like, what do you eat every day? And so we're listening and, she's eating chicken, she's eating lean, she's eating a little bit of berries here and there, but getting almost no vegetables. And I was like, hey, this is something that you should probably consider is doing a green supplement. I know that you're really into caffeine, but you're probably already getting Starbucks, coffee, and other things throughout the day that you're going to use for energy. And us getting more energy stuff from us is not necessarily going to help get you where you need to go. So I'm like, why don't you try the greens? And she was at a point where she'd taken and tried so many things. She's like, okay, fine, I'll do greens, whatever. And she got started with it. We didn't see her, she was coming in for like a few days to get samples. Then she bought the greens. We didn't see her for a few weeks. I kind of forgot she came in to get the greens. She came back a month later and I almost didn't recognize her when she came back in. She was completely lit up. She was, talking more clearly, just like all energized, talking about all the things that she'd been doing that week and all this stuff. And I'm like, I can't believe this is the same person. And like, it was just like so much more life and light to her. Now, granted, that's someone who's like eating like almost no greens and like for years. And so she started eating greens. Her body needed it so bad. She got a really good response to it. Probably a little bit of a placebo of like, well, I'm doing something healthy, I'm gonna be higher energy. But the bottom line is it's one of those things where if you're really deficient in something, you're gonna notice it a lot that your body's getting the proper greens, proper nutrition it needs. So if you haven't tried a green supplement, I really encourage you to try it, and don't underestimate the power that it can have just in your day-to-day living. It's not something that's going to instantly give you 10 pounds more muscle. It's not going to shred a ton of body fat, even though there are things that increase your metabolism in here. But ultimately, it's going to make you feel and operate on a much higher level. And I'd be willing to bet if you take a green supplement for an entire year and you really track from when you started to the next year, you'd have a lot better of a lifestyle overall day-to-day feel. And that's not something I can scientifically back up, but it's something that I've seen over the years. The people that choose to use this kind of a product really notice a difference. So a big thing with greens products is a lot of times you hear about acidity versus alkalinity, right? So alkaline being the base side, acidity being the acid side. And you might be wondering, where does this fit in for me? So if you eat like a typical American, you probably eat a ton of acidic food. So burgers, fries, even just meat in general is very acidic. And coffee, super acidic. There's a lot of things. You can ask your dentist about stuff that's acidic because it's probably the same stuff he's yelling at you about for eating that's ruining your teeth or this or that. But acidity is something that we as Americans battle. Now you need to have a certain amount of acidity in your system to digest food, right? Your stomach acid needs to be at a certain level so you can actually break down the food. You don't want to be completely base so that you have no ability to digest, but that's not a problem that we have. You would have to have so much of a problem to be zero acidity. It's not even funny. But basically, greens really help alkalize your system. They're going to decrease your body's overall acidity, and acidity can manifest itself in a lot of ways. I mean, not only acid reflux and heartburn and all that other kind of stuff, but really with just day-to-day how you feel. You feel really like crap most of the time. You just don't feel high energy. You feel only good while you're eating food, and then the minute later while you're 20, 30 minutes later after you've eaten, you feel like total trash, is because your body's acidity is really high. And also, it's tough to digest properly and utilize all your food the right way if your acidity is too high. So another thing with alkalinity and digestion is there's a full-blown digestive enzyme matrix within Greens Factor. So Greens Factor is going to help you break down your food more effectively, and the longer something's in your system, the more acidity it creates. So that if you can get it out of your system quicker, digest your food, absorb it, it's going to cause less acidity overall. But taking a greens product is going to really help you alkalize overall. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode. I hope you learned a little bit about greens and what it can do for your overall health and day-to-day living. I want to remind you guys that we're doing our protein giveaway still. So once we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to be doing a protein giveaway. Make sure and subscribe, hit notifications, leave a comment, like the post. Also, I want to hear from you guys. If you guys have questions about greens or about any supplements, please leave me a DM, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram. I'd love to answer any questions you have. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.